2 hours south of Hanoi, and more than 1,000 years ago, in 968, this was the first capital of Vietnam. When the people of Dai Viet were emerging from the Chinese imperial oppression, which had suffered them for around 1,000 years, this is where they chose to mark their first capital city. We were beginning the third stop of our journey, and we're interested to consider how the history and geography here interacted.
Right, well, Peter, I mean, it's a privilege again, isn't it, to be in such an important historical site. Quiet, no one around, we're the only tourists here. And yeah, my first thoughts as a geographer, it's, you know, why choose this site? You can imagine, you know, one of your first thoughts is we want to be safe. And all around us, we're in surrounded by a bowl. You've got this flat area of land. You've got the mountains everywhere around. So if anyone did want to attack in this location, they're only going to be able to come in small numbers. They've got to, you know, come over all this rough terrain. You'd see them coming. So it's probably that way we came in, is the only access route into this area.
This site was chosen for its natural defences and was quickly outgrown by the Vietnamese. In many ways, though repaired and rebuilt over the years, it acts as a time capsule for the birth of a nation. This is the link, you know, the difference between the northern Vietnamese people further south, Annam, the Cham, Champa. It's completely different cultures and histories, and they've emerged in completely different ways. So this jade, this link with the Chinese Empire, as the Vietnamese have established their own empire, they've borrowed from the Chinese in traditions, in language and customs. They've had to take from the Chinese because for 1,000 years they've been conquered and controlled from China. So when the new emperor begins his new empire based here, he can't invent a whole cultural myth about his monarchy from scratch. He has to take from what's already there and what the people already know, so he takes from the Chinese.
Let's push on. Let's push on. It's getting hot out here, and I noticed quite a few bugs starting to follow us.
So coming through these doorways, Peter, they're probably indicative of people being quite shorter. One of the most significant remains here is the Dragon Bed, recognised as one of Vietnam's 104 national treasures.
So this is the temple Lom Sam, and what she's explaining, we're equidistant from the temple to the main gateway that we passed into the huge courtyard. And when the first emperor passed away, they wanted a memorial, some sort of cenotaph.
And
so this is not his tomb. This is not the tomb of the first emperor, who was the dragon, but this is the dragon's bed. And this would have been important for subsequent leaders after the first emperor, where they would congregate here, and in the presence of the spirit and the memory of the first emperor, important announcements could be made and decisions made. Obviously a very important tourism place. Very, very important. This is the heart and soul of the identity of Vietnamese people. Yes. My pleasure. My pleasure. Come to tea.
this is the really exciting stuff. This is the type of thing that keeps me awake at night, thinking about how old this is. Now we've got definitive proof of stuff, archaeological remains, which are more than 1,000 years old. So much going on underneath your feet that you don't even know about. There is so much to discover underneath the ground, so many archaeological remains that we don't have the money, the time or the expertise to dig up. And there are so many things about human history that we do not know, and yet we continually tell ourselves that we fully understand the human story. We write history books where we say this, humans did this, and then they did this, and then they did this. We just don't know. There are big, huge gaps, and every day we find out something new which changes our idea about what humans were capable of in the past and how important and developed civilization was. So I just think this is another great example of how here we are, we can find something which is 1,000 years old, untouched, and what else is maybe just on the other side of this, or the other side over there, that we might find in 50 or 100 years, which could completely change our understanding of human history. We left Ninh Binh totally in awe of the stunning scenery and remarkable history.
Down the track.
The second train of our journey headed south. It was another 12 hours to Hue, another one-time capital of Vietnam. We were now journeying into ancient Champa. The history and geography of this land would be much more mixed.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
Đêm ngủ được. Mà gà đi.